Hey, what's up guys? Will here for GSM Arena. Today we're going to have the ultimate comparison. On one side we have arguably the best Android phone you can get right now, Samsung's Galaxy S24 Ultra. And in the other corner is the supreme model from the Apple gang, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So which is the better flagship? Let's put them head to head and find out. The Galaxy S24 Ultra and iPhone 15 Pro Max are very different, mainly due to the Android versus iOS software experience. But each phone has its own signature look too. The Samsung has a squared-off, rectangular shape with sharp corners and separate cameras. Meanwhile, the iPhone has rounded corners and an island housing its cameras. Both phones have a titanium frame. The Galaxy is the slightly larger device and is heavier too. Both smartphones have IP68 rated ingress protection, but the iPhone has better waterproofing. It can survive in up to 6 meters of water for half an hour, compared to 1.5 meters for the Galaxy. What the S24 Ultra brings is stylus support. The stylus is included, it's waterproof, and it can tuck away inside the body of the phone. The S24 Ultra has a 6.8-inch LTPO OLED, with a 120Hz refresh rate and a QHD resolution, which comes out to a pixel density of 505 ppi. The iPhone's display is a 6.7-inch OLED, also with a 120Hz refresh rate. Its pixel density comes out to 460 ppi. The difference in resolution isn't really noticeable to the naked eye, and both displays offer outstanding brightness and contrast. One thing you do get on the iPhone though is support for Dolby Vision, on top of the HDR10+, which you also get on the Samsung. There is one issue worth mentioning on the S24 Ultra though. There is some graininess that you can notice if you look at the screen at very low or minimum brightness. Overall, both displays are top of the line. The Galaxy's does have a smaller cutout for the selfie hardware, as the iPhone's also holds a 3D TOF sensor. But while its cutout is larger, Apple makes use of it with the dynamic island functionality. A black bar extends around it to display relevant info and shortcuts. Back to the TOF sensor. It enables Apple's Face ID, which is more secure than your standard Face Unlock, and is used for biometric authentication on all iPhones. In contrast, while the S24 Ultra does have Face Unlock, for secure biometrics you'd be using an optical under-display fingerprint reader. When it comes to audio, both phones have stereo speakers with very good loudness. The difference in sound quality is minimal, but noticeable. While both phones offer good bass and excellent highs, the iPhone is the one with the richer mids and vocals. The iPhone 15 Pro Max uses Apple's most current A17 Pro chipset, which is quite powerful. But the S24 Ultra comes with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is Qualcomm's top Android silicon. When it comes to raw computing power, the iPhone appears to be faster, outscoring the Galaxy in CPU benchmarks. However, the S24 Ultra seems to have better graphics performance, with higher scores in GPU-related tasks. That's not to say that one phone will feel more sluggish than the other in your daily use, or even while gaming though. Both devices can handle basically anything you throw at them. Of course, the phones run on very different software, but the Galaxy brings something to the table which the iPhone doesn't: AI-based features, such as live translation of conversations or calls, and advanced editing and resizing of subjects and photos. When it comes to software support, Samsung has promised 7 years of updates for the S24 Ultra. But Apple usually delivers 5 or 6 years of major OS updates, so it's a marginal difference between the two. Now we have the batteries. The S24's battery is 5,000 mAh, compared to 4,441 on the iPhone. But even though the iPhone has the smaller battery, it handily beat the S24 Ultra pretty much across the board in our battery tests. The iPhone earned an active use score of around 16 hours, compared to less than 14 hours on the Galaxy, which is still a very good score by the way. The S24 Ultra supports 45-watt fast charging, while the iPhone maxes out at 20 watts. Understandably, the Galaxy is faster to charge, going from 0 to 69% in half an hour, versus 46% on the Pro Max. Both phones support wireless charging too, but the S24 Ultra is the only one that can do reverse wireless charging. Now onto the cameras. The Galaxy S24 Ultra has a 200-megapixel main cam, a 10-megapixel 3x telephoto, a 50-megapixel 5x telephoto, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera with autofocus. On the other side we have the iPhone, with its 48-megapixel main cam, a 12-megapixel 5x telephoto cam, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide cam with autofocus. Right off the bat, you see that the S24 Ultra has one extra telephoto camera, and that means it can provide a more versatile shooting experience. Let's have a look at the quality though, starting with the main cameras. The S24 Ultra has the more natural look and a less artificial looking rendition than the iPhones. Even if the iPhone's color presentation is closer to reality, we'd still give the Galaxy the nod here. Both phones offer high-quality 2x digital zoom thanks to their main cam's high-res sensors. The resolve detail seems up to par and nearly identical, but the Galaxy's photos have more sharpening. At 3x zoom, the S24 Ultra grabs an easy win with its dedicated 3x telephoto cam. The iPhone must use digital zoom and its photos have less detail. At 5x zoom, the playing field is more level, but the Galaxy still comes out on top. Its higher-res telephoto produces images that have a bit more detail and sharpness. Its processing is more natural than the iPhone's too, especially with foliage. The S24's telephoto can also focus from much closer than the iPhone's can. The ultra-wide shooters on both devices save similar photos with an identical amount of detail, high contrast, and wide dynamic range. The iPhones have pleasing colors and less sharpening, but the Galaxy again offers a more balanced rendition of foliage. Moving on to some low-light photos. The primary camera on the S24 Ultra wins this round, as it saves the more detailed and sharper photos, with a wider dynamic range. Not that the iPhone's photos are bad, it's just that the Galaxy S24 Ultras are superb. In general, the Galaxy's 3x photos at night look a bit better than the iPhone's. But sometimes the S24 Ultra will switch to a crop from the main cam. When it comes to the 5x photos, the two are quite similar, with pleasant colors and detail. The iPhone would sometimes crop from its main camera to achieve the zoom, which produces a soft photo. At night, the iPhone 15 Pro Max's ultra-wide photos might be darker and less detailed than the Galaxy's, but they're mostly free of noise. The Galaxy's photos have the potential to be better, but all that noise just gets in the way. When it comes to video recording, the S24 Ultra can record in 8K at 30 FPS and 4K slow-mo at 120 FPS. It has a high bitrate video option, support for HDR10+ video recording, and there's a Pro mode right in the default camera app, without the need to download a third-party app. In contrast, the iPhone maxes out its resolution at 4K at 60 FPS, and has Dolby Vision support. While there's no Pro mode, the iPhone can record in ProRes log, even directly onto external storage, which may be of interest to content creators. Let's compare 4K videos from the main cameras. The Galaxy saves sharper videos, with often better looking foliage, though the amount of resolved detail is pretty much the same. While the 3x zoomed footage from the Galaxy is nothing impressive, it's still better than the digital zoom from the iPhone. At 5x zoom and 4K resolution, the two phones take similar quality videos. The S24 Ultra's camera is somewhat rare in that it can record 8K video. And again, though it's not apparent here, the Galaxy's 5x camera can focus from much closer. And the 4K videos captured from the ultra-wide cameras are not that different on either phone. At night, the 4K videos from the iPhone's main camera are more detailed and less noisy, and with better dynamic range than those taken with the Galaxy. However, the Galaxy avoids the lens reflections or flaring that you often get on the iPhone, and its videos have better saturation. Finally, the selfies. Both phones have similar 12-megapixel selfie cameras, but the S24 Ultra's photos have the better overall rendition when it comes to noise reduction and sharpening, and it has the more accurate colors. And here's a look at the selfie videos captured with either phone in 4K resolution. So there you have it, guys. Two of the best flagship phones on the market, the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. With the Galaxy, you get the S Pen and faster charging, an under-display fingerprint reader, and AI-based software features. You can record 8K videos and slow-mo videos in 4K, and the camera experience overall is more versatile and higher in quality. It's also considerably cheaper than the iPhone for those of you residing in the EU or India. Meanwhile, the iPhone provides you with longer battery life, better speakers, and the secure face unlock and dynamic island functionality. The waterproofing is rated higher. Video recording is better geared to content creators, and there's better cinematic video implementation. And the iPhone is also $100 cheaper in the States. In the end though, probably the most important factor to consider is whether you want a phone with Android or iOS, and which ecosystem you prefer to use. Outside of that, we might be inclined to pick the Galaxy as the more versatile option, but the iPhone has many of its own strengths too. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.